Yeah, in the Ublachea, when you are you from, and the German body to your Damanu. The woman's like, oh, boy, where they have been out for your man, you Mamma, the power, they am away, you get out for. I had them, yeah.
Papa Joe Feliz. Présidente Gay Marie.
And you just say where you are given. The neighbor had no one you have made your papa.
Don't tell Philippe.
You know, I gave him. You know, but I gave him. What you have to buy, look up, yeah. This I told you, well, never wait, brother, and I am here. Those are we are here. When we are here, I tell you, women, you are going to wear and do the moon now, you power out. Yeah, I am on your blood in your back. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, my yeah. Well, you better demand the chip, I get it.
Docteur Payeto.
For everywhere. My dear, go ahead. What did I get? Come down where you see that with this at all.
C'est à Marcel.
For everybody, with the one you for everywhere. My dear, get it. Okay, never play back. Get you have a focus on papa. And then the way you go black company. Maybe too many muscle now. Gayajasia, I had them out. Cover your daddy, the privilege. Privilege, remember why you found you. Now, no, you dwell on one of and I tell you, I know. I'm not going to
Me, I want to know.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the show. Good evening to welcome. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio 10 Lpr-Tv, welcoming you to this evening's Lpr-Tv live. Tonight, our special guest is the Minister of Youth and Sports Republic of Liberia, the Honorable Minister ZEOGAR. In the meantime, let's take you to La Côte d'Ivoire.
Sbi Laurent, Sbi Antoine, Kenya Paul, Paul Wallace, Apo Joachim, vous ne lui pas.
That's the voice, young guys from La Côte d'Ivoire. Welcome to the show. This is Alfonso Zienso. Let's join together to make Liberia a better country, so says the songwriter. But are we doing that? Oh, yeah. Let's hold it together and say the song says, let's put together and do it at once. We should hold it together. Are we holding together in Liberia? Welcome, Madam Director Service. Frederick, welcome. Lauren Jackson, to my Elisha, right here in the ocean state of Royal, and my woman down Mama Point. Good evening. Welcome. This is Afonso Zean. So, are we holding together? That is the consequential question. Please share the video, hit the share button, and invite someone at your company. Very shortly, the program will get underway. Oh, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. All right, we always like to insert the entertainment aspect into this program as well to put you in the spirit of oneness. I'm Afonso Z, and so of the Liberia Public Radio 10 Lpr-Tv. What we will be having my guest is already here backstage, and we're going to get this program going to right away. Welcome to the show. Of the Liberia Public Radio. In my take here tonight, this is the famous stadium, the Samuel Kayendo Sports Complex of the Republic of Liberia, engulfed in the toxic politics in Liberia. How we got to this point? Let's give you a little bit of historical setup here. The Samuel Kayendo Sports Complex Stadium, formerly known as SKD, was constructed and was dedicated in 1986. But remember, this came from former President Idiata William Aratarbot, but he did not start the process. Samuel Kayendo, and that's continuity of government, regardless of what happened. But here we are today. Let's get a program going here. My guest is here is the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports of the Republic of Liberia. Is here this evening for us to have a conversation, and I know it will sound redundant, repetitive, but we have to have this conversation. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us. Let me bring in my guest, and we will have this conversation going to right away. Okay, here we go to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, legend, one time, Mother Barrow Savior. Barrow man, my other brother, you were Barrow man. So we used to wrestle when you go in on the field, say, okay, see, you're not Barrow man, you're not riding with my car. Like, okay, go, I will go any kind of way. Okay, Honorable Minister, good evening. Thank you so much for accepting our invite to be here with us this evening on the Liberia Public Radio. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Afonso, for having me, and I'm glad to be on your show. I hope your listeners are hearing me.
Yeah, loud and clear. The audio is perfect. Folks, just hit the ear. From what I see, the audio is everything. Curtis and all of those, Mr. Wilson and all of our good friends, thank you so much for sharing here. Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you for always making yourself available to have these consequential, they are sometimes toxic conversation, but leaders, that's part of you guys' assignment. Okay, let's start off here. The year is coming to a closure here. Let's get a little bit run through of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. What is the status of the ministry, the youth sections, building youth capacity, and all of that? What can you boast, or what can the ministry boast of honor your watch as the year comes to a closure?
Well, thank you very much. I think the Ministry of Youth and Sports, with the team that the president assembled around me, meaning my colleagues who are appointed, coupled with the able and dedicated staff we have continued to do our best to make sure that we can empower our young people, be it through capacity building, be it through other career development, as well as some short-term job availability. We've been doing our best. For this year, in 2018, President Weah visited France and met Macron. Out of that visit came the program called Liberia Entrepreneurship and Employment Program, LEAP. It was being instituted in 3 counties, Grand Bassa, Margibi, and Montserrat counties. The program was initially intended to empower 11,000 youth in the 3 counties. And at the end of the 3 years that ended July 31st this year, that program was able to empower a little over 13,000 young people in various career developments. Small businesses as well were established. Were able to reactivate the National Youth Service Program, where we recruited college graduates in the area of agriculture, education, and health. And after the recruitment and training, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Ministry of Education were able to place these students for 10 months in the 3 counties, where they were making a little over $250 as transportation allowances. We're also able on this program to reactivate the youth on the job training. The youth on the job training is primarily for our young brothers and sisters who are illiterate or semi-illiterate. We place them with master trainer. They learn various trades of their choice. We provided them toolkits. Those that graduated, they were able to at least get their own little shop. Some will be with a master trainer. And the rest of the folks, there was a program, Sports for Change program, that empower over 2,300 young people in the 3 counties. And the rest of the folks got training in business development skills. Some of them got funds to do small business and what have you. So that's for the lead for this year. And we are thankful that at least the president visit in 2018 did not go in vain. A program was created and empower a little over 13,000 young people in the 3 counties. The first set of money that came. The second set of money, the second set from that trip is a $10 million. Currently, it's in the TVET sector with a French NGO called RECD, and they are engaged in curriculum development. They are also engaged in the electricity sector, and they will be assisting with our mini hotel that will be constructed at the SKD Sports Complex on the youth browsing project, but during the coordination, they will be able to furnish and equip the hotel, because that would be a center for practicum for our young girls, because the BBOTC, one of our vocational schools, is a predominantly girls' school. And so they will be using that mini hotel for their practicum as well as income generation for the school. Also, this year, we were able to launch a program on January 24th by the president called Realize, the recovery of economic activities for Liberia informal sector employment. The acronym is Realize, and that project is a COVID intervention project. Due to COVID, there were many businesses, small businesses that got affected. So we developed the program with the World Bank. The World Bank funded the program, 10 million loan and 10 million grant. And it's for 3 years to empower 19,000 persons in Greater Monrovia. So to date, that program is up and running. We are recruited. There are 2 components for that program. One of the components, the labor intensive public works. is currently being run in 25 communities, and 2,500 young people were recruited. They are currently working. They are getting paid. The small business component, but 1,300, I believe, and 20 young people who currently have businesses have been empowered. And after 5 months, we'll go to the next batch, but it will be implemented in 150 communities within Greater Monrovia. That's another
Okay.
program that we are running right now.
Okay.
I guess I will stop on that because I don't want
Yeah.
to give you more information and confuse you.
Yeah. No, not really. But just to let you know, for us here, we do it differently here on
Okay.
LPR. We allow people to tell their story, and we hold them accountable to their story. And
Yep.
our analysts, after a ton of exclusive with you, our contributors, analysts, they are standing by, they are monitoring, they're going to be coming. We know we're in a toxic environment, so we want to be respectful to our guests. Whether we agree with the policy or disagree, we want to have a conversation to get a clear line of what is going on so that they can be held accountable. Okay. Uh, Good, all of these things happening here. But let's have a little bit of conversation here. The program initially intended for 11,000 and gone to 13,000. So it means you are over the benchmark, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are those counties? How are you talking about three counties? What are the three counties?
Montserrado, Margibi, and Grand Bassa.
Maserati. How were these three counties out of the 15? How these three were targeted? So what was the situation involved to prioritize the three? Was there any specific role model, Mr. Minister?
Well, we work along with our partner Mercy Corps that have been in Liberia for a long time, and we did some baseline survey that showed that the three counties for what we wanted to do were the first three counties most counties needed to be able to implement this program. And that's how we selected the three counties to implement the project that also included the National Youth Service and the Youth on the Job training, in addition to training some small and medium business enterprises, providing some seed funding for them to be able to do their own businesses. And so we jointly did with the government and Mercy Corps, along with the French government, the French agency, I call it the agency for the French, I'm sorry, the AFD, to I say, is the French NGO. They were never in Liberia before, and but they were able to select Mercy Corps to implement their program along with the Ministry of Youth and Sports because they did some work with Mercy Corps, I believe, in Tunisia. And so they knew Mercy Corps and the fact that AFD was not in Liberia at the time. Now they are in Liberia. And so Mercy Corps was selected as an implementing partner with Youth and Sports. And they were able to successfully implement this program at the end of July 31st this year.
So Maserati, Mangibi, Grand Bassa, someone that is listening in Sino, who is in Cape Mount, who is in Bon, who is in Grangide, they are wondering when will this reach us? Are there plans for the expansions of such a program if it has been successful in your work in those three counties? What becomes of those rest of the counties? Are there plans to expand the program?
Well, the way that we operate our development partners is that if we brought a program to three counties now, this program, and another development partner wants to come in, we try to look at other counties. For the identical program, these three counties were selected and the program has ended. If for any reason there's a need, say the French government decided that look, it wants to continue this program, then we will look at other counties. But we are also carrying other programs in other counties that are doing similar things. I was telling you about Realize. Realize that I told you about is in Greater Monrovia now. Right now, as we speak, we have gotten additional financing in the amount of 7.7 million from the French government, about 9.9 million US dollar. and that will be extended into 11 other counties. And Sino is one of those counties that it will go to, since it calls Sino the, you know, crazy. The only county that the project will not reach is Maryland.
Why?
Because there's another NGO that is engaged in some cash transfer in Maryland, and I believe it's in the amount of $300 United States per family, and that is huge. So we can't carry another intervention there again, since there is an intervention. So look at other counties that don't have the intervention. We're doing our best to cover all the counties, make sure that whatever program we implement, we will cover all the counties.
Yeah, we try to go much deeper into conversation here to give our audience the clarity of what is happening, and sometimes questions are a little bit might be over the edge, but you are at liberty if you want to plead the fifth on any question here, which of course I'm sure that's not going to happen here. The beneficiaries of these programs, be it outside of Monrovia and other places, there are people that are existing that we can see, we can know. Is there anywhere that people can go and say, hey, look at the listing, look at the records of people who are maybe beneficiaries of this program? Is there anywhere that we can reference and find those things?
Yeah, absolutely. If you visited our youth centers in Buchanan and Magili, you will get the listing of all those that were on the LEAP project in Magili and in Grand Basso. Mercy Corps office has that listing as well as the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So these are real people.
Is it a public record? Is it a public record?
Well, it is public. Just that we are not putting it on any website, but our various offices. And if you need to have access to them, we can make them available because they're not secret. These are people who benefited from a program, a project, and the public need to know. If a journalist want to come and access to know all of those that were on the program, yes, we can make that record available.
Hopefully we can get, and maybe for the rest here, Eugene, Johnson, Harris, who know they are in the US, they are in other parts of the world. Okay, this is what I'm hearing. This seems to be good, but how do I validate this? None that you're going to come here and make up any story. So are there plans to have them maybe, because this, I believe, is under the supervision of your ministry, correct, with other agency or other business partners?
Yeah, ministry and Mercy are aware, as well as the French Development Agency, because the French Development Agency, the money came from the French government. The French Development Agency is the agency responsible to implement the French any intervention the government of France is having in the country. That funding go through the French Development Agency, and for the first time they are opening an office in Liberia, and they are in Liberia, and they also have access to the information because they follow their money. The French embassy as well. So trust me, these are real people.
Are there plans to have that, get it out there to the Liberian people, whether under the Ministry of Youth website or somewhere where people will go and find this information? Are there plans to do that?
Well, we are not planning on doing that. You just brought a question up, but I think there's something I can discuss with my IT department and see whether they can put the beneficiary list up for those that
maybe LPR is willing. We do have a website. In as much you want to be critical on the government, it's also fair when there are progress made in certain places or people benefited. We also want to discuss the issue. We don't just want to say, okay, there's a fire on the house here today in this quarter is burning down, and that should be only the news. I think that is unfair. And that's one of the
we can also do that. We can also provide you some of the beneficiaries if you want to talk to them. So you talk to them themselves and hear from them. Yes, sir.
But we'll be glad to do that. Now, all of us, I'm hearing the French government and other business partner. Is GOL also investing in, because after all, it is our citizen will be the direct beneficiary. Is the government of Liberia is investing into these programs? And how much are they, for example, putting in there?
Well, the government has its own program that we are running called the TESI, meaning it's an acronym for the Temporary Employment of Community Youth. We used to run a business and waterway before, but we terminated our program because of all of the issues we have with it, and then we developed a new program called TESI. This budget year was the first year we implemented our program, where we're able to recruit, I believe, 1,194 young people within Morovia to do cleaning around in and around the city. And so that is the government-run program, and government allotted 1 million for that project, and it went on successfully. And we are hoping to continue. It is not a whole year project. We do it for between 6, 7, 8 months. This one we ran it for 8 months, and then we hope that the next budget year we'll be able to run it again because funding are given every budget year. That's a government who run program. We also have the literacy program that we run, where we train mothers, fathers, marketers, numeracy skill, literacy skills. Someone that can read and write, and they go through the program. I believe the last graduate, we graduated a little over 130 of them in the Johnsonville area. So that is a government-run program, and we'll have the cadet program that we run as well. The cadet, we recruit college graduates and prospective graduates. They go through a competitive process of recruitment, and then the number we want, we put them at various government ministry, agency, the private sector. They go there for 3 months. Thankfully, this year, UNDP were able to make available some funding for us that will have 75 of our cadets. Right now, they are ongoing job training at various ministries, agencies, and in the private sector as well. So these are some of the things that we do.
All of these sort of people being so basic in what I'm wondering. So, sometimes you look on the social media, the young people, and I know Liberia is not a place where you're going to seize people liberties. What time those people have that we see them nearly every other time, either demonstrations, no work, no days, in major rallies? What time do they have to do to have this sort of engagement and capacity building? Is the ministry monitoring these people because capital is being spent on them? And if I'm beneficiary and I'm not doing that, I am not focused, probably there are others there who should be recruited to be benefited to get focused. Is there any sort of monitoring system?
Well, I can tell you, Alfonso, that the young people who have enrolled in our programs are not the ones you see other demonstrating. Uh, there are other young people who may be idle, got nothing too much to do. Politicians take advantage of that and they get in the street. But those that are in our program, like the BG and other years, but yes, we had I think 1 or 2 demonstrations on our regime, and that was only because of non-payment of their salary for the month they worked. But other than that, the young people in our program, they are not engaged in these demonstrations, leaving what they're supposed to do. No, like the cadet, wherever they are assigned, they are there. They get daily attendance. They do their work because they are assigned to various businesses and what have you. Those on the TESI program, they're in various communities where they go to work 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, and we take attendance of all of them. Even those under the LEAD program that were into our program with LEAD, those are people that were doing that job. They were not leaving it to do something else because they are being monitored. And, they have to report every day. And, so for those that are enrolling our program, they're not leaving the program to go in the street to Thomas Street. No, they are not. And they are well monitored.
Okay, I'm going to be bringing in my analysts in a little bit here after a few conversations, and they will be allowed to ask questions, also to form part of the conversation as well. Now we are wrapping up 2022 to 2023. Is the ministry short-term, long-term goal for 2023 as we gradually transition into 2023? What would be your focus? What would be your direction for 2023 for the young generation?
Well, we went on our retreat. You remember in July, and each of us were able to give our plan for, at the time it was 16 months, because the president's vision is that vision that we are all making sure that we can make a reality. And for the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for our 16 months, there were a couple of things we said we achieved within the 16 months, and that runs into 2023. One, we make sure that the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex is fully renovated and acceptable for international games. Though the stadium has not been fully renovated, renovation work still continues, but the stadium has been partially cleared by CAF and FIFA, given the fact that we have Severlion play all her international games at the SPD Sports Complex, both their national team and their local clubs. We also have our local clubs play international games there in CAF competition at the SKD Sports Complex. So we are hoping before that 16 months come, the SKD Sports Complex will be ready. That's part of our 16 months plan. Another plan we have for our 16 months is the construction of the mini hotel at the SKD Sports Complex for our business, the Domestic Education Training Center. BDOTC is our predominantly girls' school. One of the most successful vocational schools that we run. And within the next 16 months at a time, I think less than 16 months now, but that mini hotel will be constructed. That is our plan. Our another plan is our at-risk youth, and they call ZOGOs. But our 16-month plan to make sure that we work on the rehabilitation center in Johnsonville and Bensonville to transform that center into a rehabilitation center for our at-risk youth to begin to take them for in the street, and we are making good progress on that. So those were the things we said we will do within the next 16 months, and we are on track for all three of them I just named.
Okay, Honorable Minister, we allow you to get a glass of water. We are about to get to a conversation that seems to dominate what is happening now, and my analyst is going to be joining me. I am Alfonso Zienso. This is the Liberia Public Radio. Okay, today our special guest is the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, Republic of Liberia, Minister D. ZEOGAR is here. Our analysts are standing by. We're going to be breaking in. Then, as well, we are about to get to the plane. The tumbling is about to happen, but trust me, the flight will land safely. Let me bring in our senior, our contributor, Madam Koto Valiant Jala is standing by in New Jersey, Garden City. Sisi Goya is here. I saw his camera is on. We're going to get him. Koto, good evening. Welcome.
Hey, good evening to the Honorable Minister, Mr. Seod, and the people of Liberia and all around the world that are listening to us. I want to say good evening from my end, and good morning to those of you who are in the morning hours, and good afternoon to those that are in the afternoon right now. I'm glad to be here.
Okay.
For the Honorable Minister, D. ZEOGAR. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Koto. How you doing?
Okay. So, Minister, let's go. I guess your feedback exciting. My understanding, you were in Qatar recently, so I know some of these questions will be redundant, will be repetitive because conversation being going on, but they are viewers and passers on a daily basis. The question: are you part of the official delegation of the president?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, I
I
am.
know. Oh, okay. So what are we getting out of the sports industry as a result of your visit from Qatar? Were you able to meet some of your counterparts? Was there any conversations? And I know it takes time, government to release, but we are still holding our breath. Anything for us to clap our hands, stamp our feet?
Well, the thing is that when we traveled, we traveled to engage, and we also traveled to do follow up on some things that have already been in the pipeline. So on this visit to Qatar, we've gone there because one, that was the World Cup. It's a football event, and I'm the sector minister. The president was officially invited by FIFA because one, he's the president of Liberia, and two, he is a Ballon d'Or. All of those current and past players who won the Ballon d'Or are automatically invited to FIFA games. The president has been attending FIFA games since he won the Ballon d'Or in 95. So, and also he was invited on a state visit by the Emir of Qatar. And so we went there, Expire is an academy in Qatar. There was in Monrovia during the opening of the Invincible Park. And then the Minister of State Portfolio, Honorable Chokonkwiu, was in Qatar a couple of months ago where he signed a sports development agreement with Aspire. So during the visit, Minister Kwiu, myself, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Commissioner of Immigration, and also the Minister of Defense were all able to visit Aspire, and basically to make sure that the agreement that was signed, that is being fully implemented, that we are on course with it, to make sure that everyone is committed to that agreement. And as a result of the visit, there will be 17 coaches that will be going to Qatar. Minister Kwiu and I, when we get back, we will meet with the Liberia Football Association to see how best we can have 17 coaches can go to Qatar as part of the agreement at the beginning, to make sure that they develop their skills and their capacity, be able to return to Liberia and be able to impact that knowledge into our young people. They are also part of the plan for them to also build some parks in Liberia as well. So we were there to make sure that we concretize all of the arrangement, and we had a very productive meeting with them. My colleague and I were scheduled to meet. Unfortunately, we could not meet because he is the head of what is happening in Qatar, and his schedule was very, very, very busy. And so he made a commitment that he will send an invitation for me to come back to Qatar, so that we can begin to hold our own discussion, Ministry of Youth and Sports in Qatar and Ministry of Youth and Sports in Liberia. So I think the meeting with Aspire were productive. We wanted to follow and make sure that what was signed by Minister Chukwuemeka, who was also on the trip, that Aspire will be is committed, should I say, to making sure that the Aspire agreement is carried out.
Okay, Sissy, good evening. Welcome. Quickly, talking about coaches, is that on it? What are the coaches? What category of people do you know? Or
well, that's why we said we sit down with Liberia Football Association LFA is the one responsible to implement government policy on football. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ministry of Civil Presidential Affairs, we don't have coaches. In the football governing body, so we have to sit with them, and then we will select the caliber of coaches we want to send to Qatar for the training, 17 of them. So I can't tell you on the show now what kind of coaches will be there because we need to discuss with the appropriate football authority at the Liberia Football Association.
Okay, let me put this out here, and that's where the conversation is going to get a little bit dicey. This is the press release from your ministry. We see here from the group CPP, finance, money paying, blah, 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 blah. That has become a sort of attraction here, and let's have a conversation here. So I know I listened to you on a sister network that the ministry dropped the ball, and I'm wondering, but I want you to listen to this here, and we're going to have a conversation.
The right of the Liberian people to speak. The Justice Ministry will protect the right of the Liberian people to speak. Minister ZEOGAR, who is in the Ministry of Youth and Sport, will provide the facility that we are paid for the Liberian people to speak. And after that, if we have the voter registration on time, I don't know how many things you know in Council ASA. Then, in fact, that rally will encourage everybody to also register to vote. And we're doing a message everywhere. The only question I have people asking are, you sure?
Okay. Minister ZEOGAR Wilson will provide a facility for our people to speak. However, there is a press statement. So let me take a back seat here again. Will you provide a facility for the people to speak?
No. The facility, first of all, let me say this. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, vis-a-vis the government of Liberia, respects the right of every Liberian citizen to exercise their freedom of speech, their freedom of assembly, and whatever freedom that they have to express themselves. We are not opposed to that. We uphold those ideals and values in our Constitution. And we continue to stand up for people to exercise their rights. Now, the SKD Sports Stadium will not be available to CPP, contrary to what my friend Louis Brown just said. And this is why. On November 18th, CPP wrote a letter while I was in Qatar. On the 16th, you will say, they wrote a letter requesting me to my office, to me, requesting the use of the SKD facility. That letter got to my office on November 18th while I was in Qatar. The letter was taken to our acting minister, Mrs. Audrey Smith Forbes, and she instructed my special assistant to do a communication to CPP, informing them that the facility will not be available to use for any political activities. That was on the 18th, the day that was received. On the 21st, CPP came to do a follow-up. They met with my special assistant, Mr. Gabriel S.C. Brimer, who verbally informed them, Mr. Councillor Lodger Stowe, Mr. Martin Collet, and a female whose name Gabriel does not know but can identify. And he explained to them that the facility would not be available to them to use. At that point, they decided to appeal to Gabriel on grounds that they have put in their time, their energy, their money, their resources for that day, the 17th, and at that venue, the SQD. And so they were pleading with Gabriel to see whether there could be a consideration. And Gabriel told them, but in the first place, how do you begin to plan for a venue to have an activity when you did not get the approval first? So whatever you are done, I mean, it is not our business. You should have gotten the approval before. Then the next question they asked Gabriel was, is there anybody else we can talk to? Gabriel said, yes, you can speak to the acting minister. Then the next question was, what about the person that does scheduling for the facility? And Gabriel told them, well, there's a lady called Miata in the finance section. She's the one that does scheduling. If you want to talk to her, you can go there and talk to her, but it will make no difference because the venue is not available. They had a meeting for about 15 minutes with my special assistant, and then they left. On the 24th, they went back to the ministry and went to the very lady that Gabriel talked about, show her the letter that they wrote me because my staff had signed up on the letter that we received the letter. But Miata, she's our senior accountant. She knows the procedure of the ministry when it comes to renting a venue. I mean, renting like the hall or the gymnasium anywhere. Before she can build, she must get an approval. And because the letter that was taken to her came from Mr. Martin Collet, there was no approval on it. It was their copy of the letter. She took the letter from him and she said, yeah, wait for me in my office. I'm going down to get clarity. She went to the office of the deputy minister, who is now the acting minister because I'm still out of the country. But at the time, the deputy minister was at the Capitol for a hearing because the House of Representatives has invited Youth Exposed to appear for a hearing on the county meet. So she could not see her. Then she went back to my office to tell my staff that she didn't see the deputy minister. And my staff in my office advised her, say, look, take a picture of this letter, send it to the minister on WhatsApp and get his approval or get his advice. She said, okay. She left and went back to her office. She explained similar thing to her supervisor, who is the controller. And the controller told her, call the minister or text him, he will respond to you. The controller told her twice. And unfortunately, she did not take the advice of everyone that told her, and she was fully aware of our procedures. And she went ahead and took money, partial payment from CPP in the amount of $2,000 and issued them. Excuse me?
No, yeah, okay. No, go ahead, Minister.
And issue CPP a receipt. Now, all this was going on. I did not know. The acting minister did not know. My office did not know she had received money because the instructions were very clear. It was on the 30th. On the 30th, because the ruling party also wanted to use the facility for their program on the 20th of December. And while we're holding discussion, I have been telling them that it was not possible for us to hold that, for them to use the SCD. So I got this information that CPP had made some payment, and I said, no, it can't be true. I'm not going to payment because we're not using the facility for any political event. So I immediately placed a call to the acting minister and asked her whether she had authorized the use of the facility by CPP. She said no. My instruction was for your special assistant to write a letter to them, denying them, I mean, they denied a request to use the facility, so I'm not aware. So I called my special assistant to ask him whether he was in the know of any payment being made. He said no. And he told me, while I explained earlier that he had told them on the 21st that they could not use the place. So then I called the finance section to speak to the lady Miata. And it was at which time I found out that CPP had made this payment. And then I called the acting minister, and we decided, along with the deputy minister for sports, to then issue the press release that we issued on the 30th, copy of which that you have. And we wrote CPP, informing them that their request to use the SKD facility for the political rally was denied. They were also mentioned in the letter that the staff with whom they interacted was not authorized to approve the usage of any facility at the SKD, and that the staff should be contacted to get their money back. That letter was delivered to Councillor Elisha Store. So there's a situation. Prior to CPP going to make that payment, they were fully aware that we're not going to give them the facility. They wrote me to request a facility, and they did not get an approval from me, and they went ahead to make some payment through some means, and that is a fact of the matter, and that's the situation.
Okay, I'm going to be bringing in our upcoming guys. I'm going to be bringing in our contributors and analysts here. They know the rule. For us here, we always try to exercise maximum tolerance, and that's what the media is all about, for people to tell their narrative, and then the public out there will make a decision. So we're going to start. But before I go to them here, Mr. Minister?
Yes.
Talking about this facility, is it a temporary decision here, or moving forward with that facility no longer being used for political purposes, rallies, and all of that? Or is this a temporary one because of the renovation? I'm just curious.
Well, honor our administration, there will be no political rallies at the SKD Sports Complex. There will be no concert held there where stages are built on the pitch, because part of the requirement for maintenance from the greenfield company that built it tough, we cannot build stage on that field. You can't even have people wearing high heels on that field. So there will absolutely be no political rally, no concert at the SKD Sports Complex.
The red line is strictly across the board.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why we even denied the CDC. The CDC was scheduled to have their own program there on December 20th. We denied them as well. Even the tourism group on the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Information, they are requested to use the facility on the 10th of December, this Saturday. We denied them as well. So this is not just unique to CPP, just so you know.
Are you getting pressure from the ruling establishment from this decision? Is there any political pressure being mounted on you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the CDC knows that for a long time, we have been holding discussion with them behind the scene that their program would not have been possible for the SKD. I've been saying it to them.
Okay,
let's public on the 30th.
Okay, let's get a ball rolling, and guys, we're gonna do it one at a time. The lady in the house, she's a queen for us here, Madam Balaya. Okay, Koto, you've been listening extensively, all of you guys from backstage to come here. That's the rule here. We always have some sort of time on exclusive, and then we'll make you. Okay, you listen to the minister. I know you are taking note. What is your first bullet question to the minister? Koto. Well, now you're unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I have my first question. I don't know, I'm not too sure whether you talked on this topic while you were deliberating, but it's about this at-risk youth that we call the ZEOGAR. Yeah, we call the ZOGAR. There was a pre-launch in July, if I'm not mistaken. July,
June 30th.
it was June 30th. Okay, that's the date. I'm not sure of. The project was a $13 million project that should have been done in the Bento area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for which I think the president make a $1 million contribution towards. What is the progress of that project?
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to my other phone. Sorry
So,
about that. 1 minute.
okay, can the other guys come up with their question and then you just respond to them one at a time, or you want to do it one at a time?
Yeah, no, I can respond to all. I don't have a notepad here now that I'm
Okay.
taking note on. So that project is on course. In fact, the United Nations system has also contributed 1.5 million. We generated, I believe, a little over 28,000 during the launch. I mean, in cash and what have you. And right now, we have constituted a steering committee. We have constituted a secretariat. We are currently constituting a technical working group. We have an international consultant that is on the ground, as well as a local consultant doing mapping of all the at-risk youth. And we hope that that will be concluded this month. There's a meeting planned between myself, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, and the UN FPA country representative on Thursday. And so we are on course. There is a plan, a work plan that was approved by the steering committee, and to begin to do some work at the center. We are hoping to get the funding, the first 1 million that the president committed. We are hoping to get it this month so that we can begin work. But we are on course, and we are planning well, because these things we want to plan well so that when we begin implementation, there will not be a hindrance. But the project is on course.
Okay, let me go to. We'll come back. Let's do it one at a time. Let me go to Mr. ZEOGAR. It's our senior contributor, also here.
So
You got a.
Huh?
just sorry, because
There's a feedback in the phone from somebody's phone. I'm not getting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You listening to? Anybody listening? Anybody get an audio open?
Yeah, they got a lower.
If you want to work, okay. Yeah, I was getting that too. All right. Yeah, where's your quarter?
yeah, the follow up to that, he's saying that since June there has not been a blueprint towards this project. It's just a working process and nothing has been done so far.
No, that's not what I said. There's no blueprint. There was you talk about 13 million. That 13 million came about because there was a concept document. The concept document was the concept document that led us to the fundraiser. Now we have gotten some funds. We have to put things in perspective. Firstly, we had series of meetings to decide how we wanted, because the United Nations, we agreed, which were not part of the concept note. We jointly developed a concept note, however, but the steering committee was just a steering committee of the government. So we decided that the steering committee, instead of just being the government, will be a joint steering committee that is co-chaired by the resident coordinator of the United Nations and myself representing the government. And everybody else who were on the steering committee government from the UN side are part of the steering committee. That's one action we took. Another action we took was to put together a secretariat that will handle the day-to-day affairs of the steering committee and help to support the steering committee. Then a technical working group. These are the people that will take the concept document that we have to put in all of the technical details. and we developed a work plan to do some intervention. The work plan was also approved by the steering committee, and our work plan include renovation work to start. There have been other intervention that will start once the funding is gotten. And I said, we hope to get the funding this month to begin to implement everything on the work plan. So we are going as planned. We're not starting from the beginning. We are going as planned.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go to Sid. I can be thinking about a second and another question. Mr. Goyer, good evening, welcome.
How you doing, Mr. So? How you doing, Mr. Minister? And my sister,
how you doing? How you doing? How are you?
I'm fine.
Mr. Minister, let me firstly begin by saying, man, for those of us who grew up during the days when you were a goalie, hats off to you. Thank you for all of the memorable times you provided us. I'm an IE fan. All of the heartache you gave us.
I think you borrowed Mel.
On the ATS, when we used to go stand at Nikon there, you know, sometimes stand around the time trying to watch the game without paying because we didn't have the money. Appreciate you for that. Thanks for all of the work you put into Lone Star and to Mighty Barrow.
Thank you so much for the compliment.
You're welcome, my brother. Having said that, I want to keep my question on the CPP SKD situation. Simply because as a peace-loving Liberian, I really think that if this thing is not handled properly, it might have the propensity to create some acrimony amongst us Liberians, and we are all related. And for me, I think there are always better ways for us to resolve issues. Having said that, I'm a little troubled by the chronology of timeline you gave me. So I want to ask you a question first, and then based on that question, I could ask you a follow-up if Mr. So is okay with that. And my question to you, Mr. Minister, the very first one is a simple thing. Ministry of Youth and Sport procedures as far as approving facilities to be used, if facilities are out of commission. Yeah, there's something I'm hearing in the background.
Yeah, I don't know where.
If
What I will do, let me just see what I can mute on the side to George. Okay, sister, go ahead. Let's see.
If facilities are out of commission, Mr. Minister, do you communicate that system-wide through a memorandum so that other people who don't work in your office, like the accountant, the senior accountant, and other deputy ministers who might not have access to you, do you communicate using a memo, or is this something where because the ministry is so closely knit that all of you just talk to one another because it's a close-knit family?
Well, the procedures for using the procedure for renting out the facility at the SKD, BA the gymnasium, BA our conference hall, BA our Youth Connect lab, is straightforward and everybody knows. Communication comes to me. Once it comes to me, somebody say, for instance, wants to use the gymnasium, the basketball gymnasium, the radar communication requesting the use of the gymnasium. So the procedure is for me to first of all determine whether the date the folks are requesting to use the gymnasium is available. I could do it, or the deputy minister could. So all we do, you put a sticky on our letter, send it to the very lady in question, Miata, because she is responsible to do the billing for the gym or for any facility you want to render. So I will ask Miata, say for instance, somebody wants to use December 10th. I will write a sticky on the letter and send it to her office and ask her, is this date available?
Mr. Minister,
if she say yes, yeah.
Can I? Because the question I'm asking, the question I'm asking is strictly about when you, the minister, determined that the SKD is off limit to political rallies and other stuff. That decision, was that decision disseminated to the rest of your staff through a memorandum, through a memo to your staff, or was that just something that you talked about verbally to the staff that the SKD was not available for political rallies? That's the question I'm asking.
Although, but we made that clear from day one. We didn't put a specific part in the memo But during the renovation of the SKD, all of the press releases, all of the interview we had, because one of the key things we follow on social media, I mean, in Liberia, everybody said the fee has been bad because we didn't maintain the fee. We have too many activities going on the football fee. We have a concert, we building stage, we're doing that. So every interview that we had, we made it very clear that all of these things will not happen at SKD. We said it repeatedly. Look, we have been telling people that ever since, just like I'm in the news. And just see people in the news. There was a group that wanted to have a concert. We said no, go to ATS. You know, so it's something that is known that we said we will not do this anymore. Within our office, office, all the staff are aware that we're not having the big rallies and things, political event, concert at our SKD. We were very clear on that.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Then here's my question. The question I wanted to ask is based on that, based on all of those interviews and your colleagues, the people that work for you at the ministry, understanding your position. Do you see, and this is not me trying to put blame on you, but do you see anywhere where maybe the Ministry of Youth and Sport bears, I don't care if it's 5% responsibility for the breakdown in what we add today? Because according to your chronology of timing, your special assistant was told on the 21st, on the 18th when the letter was received, to communicate to CPP that the stadium would not be used. And then on the 21st, the CPP made a follow-up, and your special assistant had a verbal conversation with them. Mr. Minister, in hindsight, and I know hindsight is 2020, do you think that instead of your assistant minister who will be instructed to communicate to the CPP, instead of having a verbal communication with Councillor Toll, don't you think now in hindsight you should have just written them the letter, the official letter, and handed it to them since they were there, denying them access to the stadium?
Well, thank you. You're absolutely right. You know, one of the things I try to do is that I like to be as honest and transparent when it comes to these things. Being the Minister of Youth and Sports, and I said on the live network that my staff dropped the ball. And that is why all the staff involved will receive administrative action. Those actions will take effect tomorrow. There will be an investigation sanctioned. The investigation has made recommendation and actions will be taken. I agree with you. If the letter was written, then we would not have been having all these stuff. That one after it. But also too, why the street letter was not written, CPP had an intent, because they were told verbally that this play will not be available. They begin to beg because they said they have made their plan. So they try to go elsewhere to a lower level staff, because if you deal with my special assistant who has a title of an assistant minister, if you wanted to appeal, don't you think you go up somebody higher, right? To the deputy minister, but they choose to go to the person that does scheduling. Whatever manipulation they did there, we don't know, but something was just not right for this lady who has followed the procedure every time. Even she will chase me anywhere to make sure I can respond to her, decide to do her own thing. That's why I said we dropped the ball. But CPP was aware, yes, we didn't rate them at the time, but on the 21st, they were aware that they were not going to get the place. Then the 24th, they go make payment. So yes, I mean, I will not shy away from that. My staff dropped the ball on that, and all the responsible will be fit administrative action.
Thank you for that admission, Mr. Minister. That is leadership, and that's the end of my question.
So before Mr. George come in, my staff dropped the ball. You are the head of that ministry. Are you taking responsibility as well, Mr. Minister, or just the staff?
Well, the way I look at administration, whenever something occurs under your watch, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you take responsibility. I'm a minister. I take responsibility too. They're under my watch. Even though I was not aware, but I'm a minister. I can't shy away from that. And that's why we institute the appropriate measure to serve as a deterrent for anyone else in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to get a clarity. Mr. George, go ahead. Emon George, let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Minister. Good evening, Madam Kodo and Cesar. How you doing?
Yeah, Mr. Joe, how you doing, sir?
Yeah. My question here is that you said that you dropped the ball.
My star dropped the ball.
Your star dropped the ball. But what I want, what I want to find out from you, is that you're saying that you said it repeated verbally, and you are the minister. I want to know from you verbal communication and a memo to the staff that will serve as a reminder that, hey, this is reduced to black and white. One, why you didn't do that? Second, did you ever made a memo, a press release to the Liberian people in the newspaper, in print media, to say, hey, as of this time, these facilities will not be rented out to any political party? Did you do that? And if you did not do that, why?
Well, the issue is that, I don't want to single up political parties.
No, I'm not saying one party. I said
before I remember now. Okay, 1 minute now. Let me answer your question. And I remember when in March, when the renovation started, even there were people, a lot of librarians that come on the SKD to exercise, and we issue a press statement that was on the news, stopping everybody from coming to exercise because of the renovation what was going on. We didn't want any form of accident. And we didn't want people using the bathroom or trying to mess it up when the people were still working. And I believe in that memo, it was also stated that the facility will not be available for rent as a whole. I believe we said that in that memo. So, and besides that, like I said, I had a live interview on that feed with OKFM. I interviewed with several other library journalists, even Senator Dillon and Borchaki, to visit our feed, their live feed, and every opportunity that I had. It was announced because you see, I'm on social media for a reason. I get a lot of good information from productive people who will make suggestions. I don't pay attention to those who will just talk no matter what. They don't try to guide people. And all through our challenges at the SKD, most of the things Liberians were seeing on social media in the country, even on the talk show, Liberian government does not maintain things. The SKD was not properly maintained. They were having this, and I took key interest in that. And that is why even during the time the fee was being turned over by Greenfield, the sign Greenfield gave us, it had the do and do not. We gave it to every journalist to make sure it was put on their pages. And we reiterated things that were not happening at SKD and things that were happening at SKD. So my thing is that regardless, in my view, of whether, let me play devil advocate. Let's say CPP was not aware. But my side were aware. They were aware. And that's why it beats my imagination why this identical side would do what she did.
Let me go back to the question.
Yeah.
You talk verbally to everybody. My question to you, as the and a public official, you run a facility, you are all a ministry or agency. And if you are going to take a decision that will affect the citizenry of the country, would you think it would be better to put up a press release or a memo in the newspaper to tell citizenry that as of now, we will not do this? You don't think that would be much better instead of you saying, oh, I always said it?
No. I did tell you we issue a press statement in March when we stopped the folks that were going to practice exercise on the SKD from going to the airport renovating. In that press statement, we also mentioned that. And I said, in addition to that, every opportunity we had to address the press, we reiterated the do and do not escalate. That's what I said. I said, in the press release we issue in March, we mentioned those things in March in the press release. And we continue to say that.
Will not be open to political rallies and other performances. That was in your press
Well,
release.
we didn't specify political rally at the time. We just said it will not be open to any form of concert and large gathering of people on the SKD. We said that.
Okay, let's make progress. Let's go around the table again before we come. Mr. Minister, thank you so much. And that's what we do here on LPR. We allow people to explain their narrative and we hold on. Let me come back to Koto. Koto, do you have any other question there for the minister? Yeah, you got to unmute. Let me see. Let me do it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, again, Honorable Minister.
Yes, ma'am.
Seems to me that everything that you guys try to do is not either on course or it's not published or it's not this, it's not that, everything in the pipeline. So this brings me to this question.
But what are you talking about? Let's get something straight. I don't want you to mischaracterize me. You say everything you're doing on course in the Puebla. I don't understand that part. Can you clarify?
My previous question I asked, you say in the Puebla.
No, that's not what I said. I was specific. I answered your question. You asked me since the fundraiser on June 30th, what have we done? And I detailed what we are doing.
And I
said we are on course. I detailed what we were doing.
Okay, Honorable Minister. I also listened to your question, your answer towards the question Goya asked you, and it was again, the information was not published. And I also heard Mr. George is also asking you. Those are some losses that you people have. So if I'm saying it from what you say now. I'm not saying it from previously. I'm saying from what you are saying. Your own explanation tells me that you guys are not on course when it comes to your function. So it brings me to this.
I fundamentally disagree with you.
Okay, it brings me to this question.
Because I answer all the questions where I said we put something in the paper. I mentioned it. Where we did not, I said it. So don't mischaracterize what I said. How I'm trying to say.
I am saying what I heard. You saying. I'm not saying from your own.
Well, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Don't mischaracterize. I will not allow you to mischaracterize what I said.
Okay, so
the last speaker asked me a specific question. When I was answering, he was not satisfied. He came back to me, and I said in March we issue a statement, but it was not specific to political rally. I think I said that here, and I said in addition to that, we also have other press engagement, made our position clear. That's what I said. So I will not allow you to mischaracterize me. What I'm saying. Thank you. Let me progress.
Our Liberian people are listening. They will find out what the truth is. Okay.
No problem.
Let's move forward. We are coming again to the most important thing. Sometimes we have that unite our youth is the county march, and I understand
the county meet.
Yeah, the county meet. Correct information. Okay. It's supposed. As I have been hearing, it's supposed to be starting December 17th.
Yes, in Grandmaster County.
It still stands for December 17th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if not, what are the preparation put in place? Because I understand that there was a contribution of 275,000 towards the county march. And what is the total budget since that was the case? Because we have 275,000 contributed towards is that right?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, so that's why I want to
let me provide the information.
Exactly, that's what I want. So
national county meet.
Yes.
every county meet will request sponsorship besides what government gives, because our government gives to the county meet has not been sufficient.
Let me be precise. Let me be precise. It was the external meter.
I will provide information for you. Yeah, I won't get help you or not. Yeah. Let me help you. So, Sarah Mitchell agreed this year. For the last couple of years, we have Orange has been our title and prime sponsor. But this year, Sarah Mitchell decided that it would be the prime sponsor of our county meet. And that sponsorship came with an amount of $250 United States for the sponsorship. There was an additional $25,000 that a settlement added, making it $275,000. But at $25,000, a settlement gave that amount to the 3 counties they are operating in. That's Grand Bassa, Bon, and Nimba. They gave Nimba, say Nimba won the county meet, they gave Nimba $10,000 of that $25,000. And the balance $15,000 they divided with Bon County and Grand Bassa County, $7,500 each. So the fund that we're giving was for sponsorship. So what we decided to do as organizers, to give each of the counties $7,000 from that sponsorship, which we have done. We also decided the 4 venues, because there are 4 venues that will have the preliminary round the county meet in. Those venues, those are hosting. We gave each of them $2,000 United States to help them with that preparation at their venue. So that is what we have done so far.
Okay, let me jump on that, and Sissy will come in, because we got to look at every aspect here. The 2,000 is that a preparation for the county team, or just
no? The 2,000 for the 4. There are 4 counties that do preliminary round. That's Bon County, that's Maryland, Grand Bassa, and Lofa. Those are the 4 counties that are hosting the preliminary in their group stage. So the 2,000 we get in addition, we get each of the 4 counties is to help them prepare their various venues, meaning their football facility. Yes.
Okay, so quickly, Sissy will come in here. What's about the participating team to help them in the preparation? Like
we get them 7,000 each. All the 15 counties got 7,000 each from that money. Yeah.
When the ministry, because it's a government or the ministry is providing the funding, and we had an experience. I don't know about other counties, but I know my county, Grand Gida, there were a lot of controversy. I don't know whether investigation or some complaint ever came to the ministry, because sometimes it goes to the county and it's not been properly used. You still have team member or the soccer squad of the county will complain. If these fundings are provided, Mr. Minister, is there some sort of monetary system to coordinate that is being properly used? Because it appears from other county officials, funding being divided in so many ways, and then to leave the team vulnerable, or you just give it and they decide what to do, not to melt into the county affairs. Is that the case?
No, we don't delve into that, and quite frankly, this has been a problem we have encountered. Every year we have vendors ready in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They expanded to Jersey from all that they didn't pay us. They took this bush from all that they didn't pay us. It's been going on, but when we give the money to the counties, we don't have any control over that. It's up to the county administration to make sure that they can spend the money as being given on their team to prepare their team. And we have always asked them to make report. Even right now, according to the rules of the county meet, after the county meet by March, every county is supposed to make their financial report so that we're able to clear it through our internal audit department. Then we make a request to the government to provide funding for the county meet. We are in December, saying the last county meet. Only a few counties are brought in a financial report from the last county meet. And this is an ongoing problem with the counties. You give them money to make report for the money, it becomes challenging. Then they complain to the government, not giving you money, we need money from government. How will the government give you money when the money government give you last county meet, you are not reported? You must report for that money we give you for us to be able to make the request to government. Not just a standard procedure. So the boys in that court, and we'll have a chat room. We are all in. Just today, we were there communicating, and there should be a report. Because I have a report, I can request money from government. I need a report. So there's an issue problem, Alfonso. Most of the counties it's been a serious challenge.
Sissy.
So, Mr. Minister.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because from the analysis we made or the contribution, the distribution, I think there is still balance of that money if it is what scheduled for or it was allotted for the team. What happened to the balance of that money?
So let me be clear. Our sponsorship are not money allotted to team. The sponsorship is to help us run the county. And when the sponsor gave us money, in that MOU that we signed, we detail how we spend that money. The money we give the counties, but not money that were in the agreement to give the counties. We are the organizing committee, owing to the fact that these counties are not giving their report, and the county meeting must start on the 17th. We thought it wise to give them this amount to prepare themselves while we await their report to request money from government. We are also using the sponsorship money for branding. As Celebrity gave us money, we got to brand all full venue for all. What am I branding? We got to put their logo, we got to put the banner, everything. We got to bring in jerseys. Those are the things we're supposed to use for the county meet sponsorship money. But we went ahead and gave them money. So just to be clear, the sponsorship money are not for the team. It's to help us run the county meet. But we always make sure that we can give them at least some of the county meet money. So our money is left from there. We are using to bring in jerseys. We are using it to do branding. And we are making other county meet related expenses. Because note, government has not given us no money for the county meet yet. And the reason why government not giving us money for the county meet is because we're not getting the report from the county. So every money we're spending now, that sponsorship money we are spending.
Wow. Okay, Jessica, but how much usually government facilitates to get these sort of county meet program executed? Let's assume all of the counties made their report today. How do they? Is it being done proportionally or?
No. So we have requested government. The past county meet government are giving us 250,000, going to 300. I think the last county meet was 350,000. So this year county meet we are expecting 367,000 from the county meet for the county meet. And because this amount is not adequate, that's why we go for sponsorship. You will not believe it, but the teams, the county teams, and paying the referee take a bulk of that money. So every other thing we do during the county meet, we rely on sponsorship to get it done. How we get trophies, how we get all the medals we give up. We give all money, cash money, so everything will depend on sponsorship to get the rest of the things.
Thank you so much. Mr. Minister, with all due respect, can I offer some suggestions? Because you
Why
run
not?
a ministry.
Why not?
I don't want to disrespect you, but I know you said that you are in the business of listening and you follow people. So on the issue that Koto just tried to raise about the money, and I listened to you keenly that even in the chat groups it's difficult for you to get these reports. I'm looking at your ministry's website right now, Mr. Minister. The most recent press release we have is about the county meet fixture that was on November 21st. And then before that was about, you cautioning the youth about the election violence, which is really great, by the way. Hats off to you for trying to put that into perspective. A lot of these things with people not sending reports, I got a funny feeling that it might end up being like the CPP situation right now. Because you're in a chat room.
My message is CPP.
No, listen, you're telling them to do stuff and they're not doing it. And if you don't have press releases on your website that people can look at, because in Liberia, whenever information is missing, we fill that with gossip, right? And so my advice to you, Mr. Minister, would be whoever is the web designer, web manager, can they be up to date? Like even the press release you issue regarding the CPP now using the stadium, it's not on your website. And so for some of us who are away and the only way we look for information is on the website, I would say, Mr. Minister, if you could please put some time into that to see if most of those things can be updated on the website. That takes away a lot of the gossip. And you can always point people to go, look, it was on our website. Look, we did this, we asked this. And I understand in Liberia, our consumers don't have time to go on internet. I get it, because that is not the most way our people get their information. But I would just put that out there as a suggestion, Mr. Minister. Now, having said that, let me ask you a question about budget. Budgetary allotment for the Ministry of Youth and Sport. I happen to have my passion for youth. I'm a teacher. Do you think your percentage, the percentage of the national budget that's allocated to you for the vision and that you have for young people in Liberia, is that adequate? And if not, what would you hope for Liberians and in the diaspora and other well-meaning Liberians could partner with you to help move their ball along the way for our young people, so that we don't continue to demeaningly call them Zogos and Zogis, but that we can partner in a way to move that population forward.
All right, thank you so much. Let me piggyback on the first issue regarding the county report, then I will come to your question. So you know that the county meet is being jointly implemented by the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Internal Affairs. So Internal Affairs is solely responsible to get all the reports from the various counties. And the minister has been communicating with them. So it's part of our rules. The rules for the county meet is in there by March of every year. After the county meet March, the county meet report will be submitted to the Ministry of Youth and Sport. It's in the rules. So that part they know it. And the Internal Affairs is on top of it with them. But we just get challenge after challenge to get these folks to bring the report. On the issue of the budget, I would say the budget for our youth program, especially from the government perspective, is inadequate. And it is not by design. It is the fact that government has competing priorities. And so government does its best to make sure it can carry on some form of fair distribution of what is generated beyond projection. However, the Ministry of Youth and Sports receive, not that it comes to us directly, but our development partner have been supporting a lot of youth initiatives in the millions. This is why we are able to do a lot of programs. Even when it comes to TVET, okay, we get a lot of money from the European Union. We get funding from the French government. We get funding from the Swedish government, okay? And so that's how we've been able to run most of the program we run. So that's how I answer your question. However, we still look up to our friends and brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I've always said, for my ministry, we are open. Whoever wants to help, it is not the million or dollar you may even give us. If you can send us 4, 5, 7, 8 barrels of used clothes, used children toys, we can distribute them among our various orphanages to some of our at-risk youth. For us, the name ZEOGAR is stigmatizing, so the government refer to them as at-risk youth. So anytime when I'm talking about the at-risk youth, those are what I'm referring to. So there's so many ways people in the diaspora can help. And we are open, whatever way you want to help. For me, at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, We are open to anything you want to send to us to help us, something that can impact the young people in our country, those in the orphanages, those on the street out there. We're always willing.
Mr. Josh?
Yeah.
And then we'll be wrapping up from the minister before we do our last brush out.
Yeah. Mr. Take you back to something again you said.
Okay.
The store was asking you about programs you say you have in 3 counties. And coming back to the issue of reporting, he asked you, you said that you have the information in your office. If somebody wanted, you can make it available. My question to you, one, I believe those are public documents, public record. Why you have not created a system that people can go on your website and see the amount of number of children that you people are assisting or have assisted? Why you are not doing that? Is there a practice that we should come to you before you can give us the record? Why can't you make it available on your website? Because, like you just said, a whole lot of money is being put into that system. And people outside want to know what you are achieving or what you have achieved. So they must come to Liberia for that information can be available. Why can't you put on the website for transparency? To know how many you have benefited from that. And can you one day take the press to show so many people, because we see a whole lot of people on Facebook, children, or the adverse views suffering. They said they don't, government is asking for help. And if you are helping, or you are helping those numbers, X number of people, why can't those people be available that we can see some of them? What is the program that you are put in place to track those people?
You meant from the far right.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your input.
Minister, just hold on. Say, please.
Okay.
Please. Yeah, Minister, can go ahead.
Oh, but when you calling me for I said nothing. The minister responded.
You test me. Don't go there with me.
So you make a valid point about uploading beneficiary for programs that we are implemented, and that's why I said that when I come on these shows and get the social media, I like productive people that will give me ideas, something we may not have been thinking about, something you brought it to my attention. So I'll make sure that I can contact my IT people and to contact those that implement our program to see how best we can upload the information on our website so that, like you said, people can see that this program, because we have 2 programs that ended on our watch. The Youth Opportunities Project program ended last year. That was a World Bank, Swedish government funded program that impacted 14,800, I believe, and 9 young people in all 15 counties. So this information, you're absolutely right. I think we need to upload it on our website. So when we say, oh, we did it and people benefited, people can go there and see it. So there's one thing I would take from your show tonight and make sure I can talk to my folks about it so that they can put it on the website. Once the program is complete, let people be able to see that this program was launched by the government and this is the program ended this time and these are the people that benefited from the program.
Okay, and just let me ask
the only thing, hold on 1 minute. The only thing we want to look into before we do that, because at times people talk about privacy and people need being up there. We don't know how we know how to order for a ticket. So without putting the other information, just their name and if you're counted the phone. But that's something we have to consult with our lawyer and make sure that it's something that we can do, and then we can go ahead and do that. But I don't think it's a bad suggestion.
No, Mr. Minister, I'm not saying don't even put the names there. Just a total number of people. And the question is, do you do a follow-up with these people to see what are they making?
Amos Joy from the far right. Are you sure? If you don't see name and they just throw 1,000 number out there, what will you raise question? Where is name? Who are the beneficiaries of those numbers?
No.
I will ask that kind of question.
No, yeah, what happened? I got the privacy issue, but just put a total number of people, get a breakdown. This country, X number of people were trained. That's why
maybe we put a summary sheet on it, we'll upload it. It just showed, yeah, I got you.
Right.
So,
do you do a follow-up with these people to know what are the making
progress? So some of the program like the YOP, the program design gave us a window of 6 months to do follow-up, because in our follow-up, those that are doing it, they getting paid. It's part of the program. After that is a little challenge, because in our country, bro, you ask someone to do someone follow and you don't compensate them, it's a challenge. So we do it up to that level. Or besides that, no.
All right. Let's answer this question from, and now you'll be making your last statement, Mr. Minister. Thank you so much. This one is coming from our contributor, Dr. George Toto. He's not here with us. I guess he's in class here, but still making an impact, to our online notes as well. This is what Mr. Dr. Toto is saying. Mr. Minister, why the country cannot fall under the functions of LFA to avoid political interferences? FIFA has a problem with politics and sport.
That is the exact reason why LFA get running, because the economy is political, and FIFA is not political. So you can't have LFA run the country meet, because if a senator gets very represented and say I was somebody LFA president, why they didn't happen? You don't want all of that. And economy is political, and because it is political and it has more than one discipline. You get football, you get kickball, you get volleyball, you get basketball. There are 4 federations. One federation cannot run it all, because it's not just football league. And the main reason is economy is political. So it can be on LFA for no reason. Coupled with the fact that there are 3 other disciplines. Basketball is not on LFA, it's a basketball federation. Kickball is not on LFA, it's a kickball federation. Volleyball is not on the LFA, on the volleyball federation. So no one federation can run academy.
Wow. Okay, honorable, we are out of time, and we.
This is going to have a question.
Let me hit this minister with my last question. You gotta know you're gonna get by with me. I can't. Honorable Minister,
yes, ma'am.
Just hearing you say this other country is contributing, and it's not small money. Use some. $5 million,
but I drew
contributions coming into your ministry, and your ministry have one of the lowest paid employees. I went on. Let me tell you, I went before I meet somebody. I went to do research. Your ministry like have the least pay. Can you imagine somebody is still making 1,000 Liberty in Liberia as a salary? What are you doing about these people? Least pay 1,000, and I went on investigating from one end to another. You see this question I'm coming up with, I'm just not making it in my mind. I investigated all of these cases. Your institution is one of the least paid. What are you doing with your employees, with the money that you receive? We receive this, we receive that, and with all of the analysis you make here, and your ministry is one of the least paid. What are you doing about your employees?
So thank you very much for your question. But it is good that some of us can come on the question, so we will try to educate some of you, the panelists, on some of the things, some of the questions you ask. First of all, I challenge your information about somebody working youth and making 1,000 Liberty. I challenge that. That's not true. Hold on, man. I'm telling you, I challenge you. If somebody of a relative want to eat your money, they give me the information, double check. There is nobody, not that you can spoke. There is nobody. Hey, now you see, you talk. Listen, when I talk, let me listen to me too now. We have to debunk this misleading information at time when it come out. I'm not saying yeah, you can spoke. There is nobody in the government of Liberia making 1,000 Liberty per month. That's not true. Now, when it comes to pay, everybody that works in government is a civil servant. No entity determines the pay of the individual entity. That's not how it works. Our payroll is centralized. It's a government payroll. Yes, there are salary disparity, but it is not my responsibility as the Minister of Youth and Sport to say, oh, all my employees will make this salary. No, it comes from the Central Ministry of Finance. All government, that government runs. So anybody tell you that our staff is making 1,000 Liberian dollar, that is flat or lie. I'm sorry to say that's not true. And secondly, the money given to us by the money that our development partner bring in, it is not to pay our civil servant with it. Say for instance, the project we run, there is a project management team. The project management team gets paid for that money, not the employees of Ministry of Youth and Sport. That's how these things work. They get a project document we put together, we get a project operational manual we put together, and all of these things are detailed in the document with those that are bringing our money, the government, and what have you. So the people money not to pay civil servant. So please, when you're doing research next time, do it correctly, because no government employee, as a UBS, as a no government employee making 1,000 Liberian dollars. That's not true.
Even with a project you're talking about, I tried to search the project document. I could not find one of the project documents.
So okay, let's where we will do, and this is why for us here we like to go beyond the borderline. I don't usually take information from even Facebook, even if it bears the name of the president of the Republic of Liberia, whoever, because a lot of things happen. I like to reach the houses. You know, this question, it reminds me about I saw an email with my employer today, and they were giving, okay, you know that when a year coming to an end, things happen. They get resident 11 other people also are asking why we are level. Is there well they are serving the other parts? Oh, we don't have blood in. But okay, anyway, Mr. Minister, thank you so much for your time. This is what we do here at Liberia Public Radio. We keep the conversation very proportional, allow our guests to tell their story. I don't care how or what the story. The panelists ask their questions. We give them the opportunity. Our followers, very civil engagement. We don't do entertainment. Too much of the entertainment is on. So we want to talk to our officials, our lawmakers, activists, advocates, Confucianists, all of these people. We want to talk to everybody, but we are not here to convict people without giving them the opportunity to have a conversation. And I think that's one of the problems that we have in the country. The proliferations of these outlets, which of course is okay, people want to have, but it's not happening. And so I'm happy because for the most part, anytime I reach out to you, you always answer my phone call in the last minute. So let me make this other offer here again. I think we started before in the past, but things went down the way. LPR yet, I will send you our mail bag. We also have an official website and in communication and in memo release or happening that the ministry wants. And I reached out to a lot of other agencies of government as well, but very few people sometimes they respond. We are willing to have that published. We are willing to have these conversations. We are always willing to reach out to whether government, opposition, to have these national conversation. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening here, because this is very crucial, and I can't overemphasize on it because the way we treat our officials and other people in as much with different within in policies, I think we must be policies oriented into what they are doing. But I would never like to be insulted because I don't even have patience for that. So sometimes our behavior make people don't come, but I want the news. So if it calls me to wear that garment to go where the news is, I want to get that. What is your final message before we let you go today? What's your final word?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on, and I want to thank your panelists. I think the discussion here tonight was civil, was respectful, and there were some good suggestions coming from your panelists, which I think we'll look into to see how best we can do some work on that. And I'm always willing to sit with you all anytime I'm in the States, even I'm in Liberia. And thank you for having me. I think your viewers have gotten our side of the story. Again, we are not in the business to deprive people from exercising their political rights as enshrined in our constitution. But we all must follow procedures. We all must do the right thing. And if there are things that we've done that's not correct, we must be men or women enough to take responsibility. And so I just want to thank you all. And I thought the debate or the discussion here tonight was helpful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I beg you so much because somebody calling here and it's my fault because I have a number here which indicate let's violate the rule here. Okay, caller, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from? We're asking
This is James calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Mr. Davis, welcome. Go ahead. You say you had a question, even though we're closing up, but you know,
Yeah,
that's
I
what.
have a question for the minister when it comes to the payment of the CPP. He said that the lady was not authorized to do anything like that. And the lady accepted this money. So while it's up to now, the lady has not been suspended or been fired from the job.
Okay.
Well, first of all, you don't just terminate a civil selling. I said here that we sanction an investigation. The investigation concluded uh, yesterday because I think after 12 nights in Liberia, the investigation concluded, and there will be administrative action taken effective tomorrow against all those, though they later were in the forefront, but there are other people who were involved too, and everyone involved will receive corrective action.
Okay.
You don't just terminate your civil servant like that. There are rules, even to write them or to even issue disciplinary action. You got to follow the civil servant regulation. That's why it took our time because we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. But definitely, people will be held accountable effective tomorrow.
All right, thank you. If that happens, be it good or bad, please let us know. Please maybe share
We
with us
will.
the information so
We
we
will.
can have that conversation.
We
All right,
will.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you so much and have a pleasant person.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, folks, there's that. That we have it. We're going to, in the next 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be wrapping out here. But look, this is what you heard the tip here. Louis Brown say Minister ZEOGAR Wilson will prepare all the Ministry of Justice, and that when Ministry of Justice does provide security for the people. But beyond that, it was interesting yesterday in the interview with a presidential candidate. I want us to listen to this and see how it is being played out in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. And I hate to do that. I'm not going to put anybody on the line here, but he's the guy, Sister Goya, that's the poll Councilor Tiawan Gongo. Let's do the highlight of Lpr-Tv special yesterday.
I resign. Before I resign, I issue a 13-page press statement. It's on the internet. If you check, you'll find it. And then the president subsequently called me back into government because at that time, she had sent all the cabinet ministers home for 2 weeks compulsory leave. I was one of those that she called back. And I said, no, I'm not coming back into your government because what I believe you will do is not what you are doing. This country went into civil conflict and over 300,000 people were killed because of bad governance. And I see the same thing
happening,
being done by you. The same thing is happening.
That's why you told the president?
Yes, in a conversation with her. And I said, thank you, but I'm not coming back to the government. Anything good in Liberia. Louis Brown was National Security Advisor to Charles Taylor, man. That was the time I was tortured.
This seems to me ANC now.
Let them be redeeming themselves. They laid the foundation for the suffering that is happening today. No. It's not in good faith. Isn't it the same Louis Brown who said to President Salif and candidate president that no one since 1847 has so desecrated the executive mansion equal to President candidate Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It was not even a month after he was appointed to be Minister of Information for that same President Sirleaf. And he was propagating everything. When he was asked by the journalist, he said, when you are far from President Sirleaf, you see a bad woman. When you come close to her, you see a good person. That sounded very opportunistic to me.
Okay. We hold politicians accountable of their voice. Look, gentlemen, this is Tiawan Gongo, a presidential candidate. But beyond that, there was another human side of the whole thing here. So now it becomes a consequential conversation. There is a divided house. Other side of the other opposition calling their people not to go, but there is a reflection of the past. And I think we have this kind of conversation here. There are two things playing out here before we go this evening. ANC is also on the line. It could be good, it could be bad, depending how it goes. With little funny thing going on now, we don't know. I did place a call with the Liberia National Police, but up to this broadcast, nobody has told me anything with respect to who are responsible. There's an active ongoing investigation. Ibon George, you support Alexander Benedict Cummings, which is fine. Do you think Alexander Cummings and the ANC, I did send a text message asking the call to action to we are tired of suffering here, because it reminds me also the days the 80s after Bantu and the press union calling on the sitting president at the time, market calm down. We saw the consequences of that. In Liberia, we see what is happening. He has not responded. The question was, whether ANC is aware or the political leader approves of what the actions of Louis Brown. I have not got an answer. I also incorporated the CPP. Hassan Musa ability to respond. Yes, they are aware. Why Kumi is not responding? Why is he not addressing? Is he taking a risk here, depending how this whole thing is going to turn out to be?
Well, it's not about taking a risk. If Mr. Kumi will respond, he will respond at any time. But let me say this.
Anytime?
I mean, yes, Mr. So it's not because you called Mr. Kumi, so he must just jump out and respond to you.
Not necessarily me, but these are volatile issues. They are political leaders, so we also want to hold them responsible.
If anything is happening, he's the political leader. If you call, he doesn't respond. There are other people. You got spokesperson, you can contact them. So, but it doesn't mean that he's not in the loop. So let me just say this. And secondly, the Constitution gave Liberians the right to assemble peacefully. The Asa Bantu situation is different. He said they were asking Monkey to calm down, but this is not asking President we have to calm down. The people are rising up to speak to the issue that's suffering the bread and butter issue, period. So there's no comparison between Asa Bantu state by the time and that of the ANC. Asa Bantu was asking for President Do to step down, Monkey calm down.
No, of course, there's some similarity here, and I can bring you to that point.
Yeah, you made that point. So I'm saying no. The riot is about for Liberians to speak on what is affecting them, period. They are not asking the government to step down.
When this affection of things, when has this start happening? Look, let me just say this, and I respect your view. We respect everybody's view here. I think the opposition needs to, it's election period time, right? They need to be more or less strategic now. He said they want it in the corridor, but in one of the other conferences again, he said they're going to go to every street corner. Who's going to provide the security when the government says no? I'm saying this because we have seen past experience, save the state, do this, do that. Do you think it's a winning strategy at this time? Is that what the opposition?
Let me say again.
I do agree the civil liberties.
Let me say this again. when you are stationing a demonstration or rally in Monrovia, you write the Minister of Justice, you give them the route. The Minister of Justice will determine, say, hey, you can use this route, not this route. So there's a law and order in Liberia, except the Minister of Justice choose not to provide protection for its citizenry, but it's on obligation. So if the organizer say we want this route, and the Minister of Justice said no, we cannot provide it because of X, Y, Z, that's it. But if the Minister of Justice say, hey, we will not say that, we will not provide protection, well, it's up to them.
So, okay, let me break your sister here. The bottleneck here, I played the recording of Louis Brown, the ZEOGAR Wilson, and you heard ZEOGAR, Minister Wilson, in his word, he said no. Now, I think the boy is in the court of the Ministry of Justice now to grant them the permit. Whether are they going to go have a different place, or they will be insistent to go to the very venue that they pay for, which of course I was glad Brown and other ANC folks to send those receipts we pay for. So, Sese, the question now becomes, if the venue is denied, based on what we know so far, and if the Justice Ministry, because the Justice Ministry eventually will be the determiners to say, okay, we let them go ahead, but they can use different place. But the government, ZEOGAR Wilson, who is the minister, is now saying they're not going to give that place, but the organizers are saying they're going to go there. Who's going to be violating right here?
Well, first thing, and that is why I applauded when Minister Wilson said that he recognized that somebody dropped the ball. Because at the end of the day, the reason I asked about the memorandum, the memo, when you run a ministry, I'm hearing myself.
Yeah.
When you run a ministry, when you give a mandate, hopefully we expect it to be in the form of a memorandum.
Yep.
A memo so that when you, Mr. Minister, are out of the country and people cannot get in touch with you, there is a memo they go to and say, here is what has been established. And so we don't need to get you on WhatsApp. We don't need to call you in Qatar. We are going to go by the established policy of the ministry as written out in the memo. And so the government, and I don't want to beat this up more because the minister already talked about that, and he was human enough to recognize that there were some mistakes that were made. Now, having said that, I do think that the Ministry of Justice is placed in a unique situation right now. If they decide that the CPP cannot use the facility, they have to give a security reason, because the Ministry of Justice cannot just say, we won't give you a permit and you're not using the place. There has to be law and order implications, right? And so they have to find that. But I still think that they are placed in a unique place because Councillor Musa Dean has not spoken on this. So he can be seen as an arbiter to come in and get both the Ministry of Youth and Sport and the CPP together and say, look, let's agree that there were some mistakes, but, can you use here? Can you use here? Can we do this? If you use this place, that's what the congestion will be. Can you further use here? And I don't think the CPP is going to be very intransigent to there and say, no, we absolutely have to use this place when security situations provided to them, or when even traffic congestion situations provided. Having said that, though, I wanted to address something. When Alexander Cummings did not support publicly Joseph Boakai in the second round of the 2017 elections, a lot of us called that a mistake. We came out, we've been bashing him for that. But for political leaders, including my own political leader, again, I don't belong to a political party. And that's the reason because I just find it difficult to subscribe to something where I have to drink every water my political person gives me.
I saw you yesterday.
Yes. And so...
Is your face turning red?
Henry Costa, who wants to be a senator, should not be in the place of telling people don't attend a peaceful assembly. Joseph Boakai, I'm not saying he said that, but should not be in the place to tell people not to attend a peaceful assembly where people are exercising their constitutional right to peacefully assemble. And by the way, this is one of the rally in most recent history that has told us that they're not going to go to foreign diplomatic officers to deliver any petition. So this is even more tempered down than the July 7th Save the State, or even the student party Fix This Country protest. The organizers, because I listened to them. Again, I'm not a member of the ANC or the new CPP, but I listened to them, and they did not call this a protest. It was the government that called it a protest. They said it was a rally. And Louis Brown said, and I had to be quoting Louis Brown, but Louis Brown said that if your life is okay, this rally is not for you. If things are going well with you, this rally is not for you. This rally is for the people who, and he lay out all of the things that have been going wrong for the people. And so unless a Henry Costa, a Councilor Tewan Gonglo, or a Joseph Yumabwaka is telling me that none of their constituents are feeling the economic pinch in Liberia, therefore they will tell their constituents not to attend a rally. So my thing here is, and Louis Brown said this, he said, okay, people say I'm not a vessel, that I'm not a moral authority to speak on this. He said, those people who are the moral authority, let them speak and I'll be quiet. So those people who think that Louis Brown should not be the best messenger of this, speak on it. And I think that was a gauntlet he laid out to my guy and other people who were saying that because he worked for a government that was intransigent, that was criminal, therefore, by extension, he's criminal. Forgetting that a lot of them work for past governments that can be tied in the same way. And so for me, if people really want the likes of Louis Brown to be quiet in Liberia, if people want for the likes of Kai Farley to be quiet in Liberia and Prince Johnson, let's bring the war crime court. But we cannot continue to have this thing hanging over people. I came out against Louis Brown. I came out against, what's his name?
Daniel Che.
The reason I came out against Daniel Che was because I said he was defense minister and he had been on the front lines, not because he worked for Charles Taylor. And so we have to be very careful with trying to limit the rights of people simply because they have worked in past governments.
Association by guilt.
And for me, would I be inviting a Louis Brown to my daughter Christine? No, absolutely not. Would I work in a government or with a party that elevates Louis Brown to a higher table? Absolutely not. But do I believe in Louis Brown still having the right to calling out wrongs when he see wrong? So just so, are we saying now that Milton Blahyi, butt naked, can no longer talk about when he sees somebody slapping a woman in the street? You might say, oh, police car, somebody slapping the woman, somebody say, oh, Mr. Butt naked, you're killing people. Why are you calling police for somebody slapping somebody? Would you say that? Yes. So I think we are looking at this thing lopsided. People can choose to go. Political party leaders who have a gripe with the ANC because the ANC did not invite them in the planning stages, the most politically savvy thing to do is just be quiet about it. Let the CPP go and test their strength. And I said the last time on the last meeting on here, Mr. So, and real quick, and I stop. I said, look, if I were a political leader in Liberia, I'll be sitting there watching this rally, because this rally will tell me the strength of Alexander B. Cummings, how I said paid off since 2017 in Maserado with all of the interactions he's had. And then it will also tell us the strength of Musa Hassan Belete portion of the Liberty Party. And so then you will start to see who are the true leaders of the people. And I like, you see, Delon, people don't like Delon, but Delon is a very smart dude. Delon said that if the people rally at the Capitol, at his workplace, you will come and join them. But because he has not been officially invited, he can't go somewhere he hasn't been invited. And I think he did not go to the Louis Brown issue and the issue of morality, because he understands that the issue people are talking about is what he's been talking about. Gas prices has been high, food shortages on the market. We have spoken about that. My political guy has spoken about that. We've talking about people living in abject poverty and can't get paid on time. We've spoken about that. So how now we telling our people, yes, even though we speak about that, do not go to the rally that's saying come and voice your opinion that it's going to be a peaceful rally. I think that is unfortunate. That is my opinion. And again, that's the reason I'm not a spokesman for any political party, because I don't think I will last within 2 days.
All right, thank you. So, Koto, make your last final point before we cut it there. Yeah, no, you follow the conversation. What's your take on that? You listen to Bongo, you listen to what Brown said, you listen to what Minister ZEOGAR Wilson said. We are at a crossroad. What's your concluding point?
Thank you very much, Mr. So. I still stand on my point the last time I made here that I don't think such a rally is necessary at this time. Reason being that we are getting to the point of campaign. Okay? Election is almost here. Those are issues that now we will use to run our campaign on. Instead of establishing some rally or some, my own view, I'm telling you, because we ran campaign and we know how we ran our campaign. I capitalized on your misfortune to get fortunate. That's what we do as politicians. So I'm not going to be pronouncing your fault because it's what I'm going to be using against you. So that's why for me, I'm saying it's not necessary now. I'm using your fault, and that's why I'm going to use to run campaign against you. To come now establishing this big rally and forcing about having a protest and all of that is not necessary at this time. You want to put your ideology forth. Go in your community. Have these programs that you always been having. Acknowledge what the people are doing. Tell them what is going on. Instead of saying, I'm going to have this rally, and cause some problem. People getting there. Not everybody going with the same intention. There are some people, we saw it last night. When Louis Brown went to have just his press conference or interview, you saw other people that went there last night to disturb. If you didn't watch it, I watched it. So this is the time where a lot of these things will be happening. And for me, to avoid a lot of these things from happening, I use my political era and start educating my electorates. Okay, instead of having all of these things, it's going to be causing matter chaos. People want to have an opportunity to bring some confusion. I'm telling you at this point, that's what it is. So that's why I would prefer, but again, they have plenty of things. I cannot change their mind. But I would have told them that was the right thing to do. But again,
that was the right thing. Dr. Torankard, Sissy, you started trouble the other day. My phone all night day, it been flipping up, buzzing. So Dr. Torankard, tomorrow, Wednesday, gonna be back. You call in the Ministry of MOL, the Ministry of Labor.
I said nothing. If you're watching Dr. Torankard, is Mr. So calling your party Ministry of Labor, and I mean.
Okay, so she's going to be actually there was a miscommunication with their leadership, so they're going to be, we're still waiting for our friends. We extended invitation as well to CDC to send their representative. We're still waiting, and I think someone is watching that I identify. So hopefully maybe from this one year they will be able to come, because they might be able to defend their party. We have to make a balance. You have ANC Amos Joy, you have Sissy Goya.
If a CDC person comes, the day they come, I will wear CDC beret to celebrate them. It will not happen, Mr. So leave that thing. The people will go in the echo chamber. It will not happen. This is a gunplay I laid down. I will wear CDC beret the first day CDC president analyst.
Okay, well, gentlemen, ladies, I want to thank you so much for this event. We'll be back.
I think Mr. Joe wanted to talk about his rally. You try
not my rally. Listen. But listen, I would have called for that rally a long time. You know me. I don't shy away from my thing. I call for it and I challenge the opposition. But here's the thing here. You know what happened? Henry Costa, the protest that they said that the president should step down. And Mr. Isaiah Bicom said he was not going to support any protest that asking the president to step down. That is now what Costa is taking now to pay back. And We somehow said on the platform that we will not support any protest to call for.
How you get to know that? Is that what Costa told you?
He said it, Mr. So that's the reason. He don't have to tell me. We read between the lines. And Costa, at the end of the day, the American called on him. He had a meeting with ECOWAS to change that they would not go with the statement that the president should come down. He changed that statement at last minute of time because the U.S. Embassy and ECOWAS had called him. So this is the guy who's saying this kind of thing that because you disagree with him, he cannot support you. But to Sister Carter, let me say this. The Liberian people are suffering, and you saying 9 months of election, you cannot have a rally. You cannot have a rally. I heard some of you people from the Unity Party saying that because if this rally go on,
you guys should take this fight across the globe instead of breaking point. You will fight with everybody.
No. Listen, they said that because when the rally go on, there will be a promotion for Alexander B. Cummings.
Oh boy!
But as I said, yeah, you know that I will listen to radio this morning from Monrovia. But let me say this: those who say, as Louis Point said, if you think everything is okay, just stay home. A 2% of the end of the rally, that will be it. But I prefer Liberians to speak on issues that are affecting them. So, Honorable Boakai, Councilor Gonglo, they all can sit down. And let me just close on a note. I was surprised at Councilor Gonglo's statement yesterday. He worked for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And Ellen Johnson Sirleaf contributed to the death of 350,000 people in Liberia. So should I hold Councilor Gonglo that he worked for a rebel? This is a slippery stroke. They're going down on. Mr. Comey has said, I am for the war crime code. If anybody has social media, if we establish the war crime code, they will go there. But this is the trend that Councilor Gonglo is taking to say this thing. And I'm asking him, you work for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. We know the record of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She contributed $10,000. 1989, July, she said that to lower the mansion. They would be drinking champagne. I was in Monrovia.
Okay.
And you work for this woman. So
let us not relegate this conversation here today.
So one
play again. See.
Yeah, 1 minute. I want to tell Mr.
I resign.
I resign. So the good thing here now, so Sister, this one he put to rest. The apprehension will have whether he was fired, this and that, he resigned. You want to respond? Can we respond? But so, make your point quickly before.
So no, there was a point I was trying to make. Let me make it clear. Before yesterday's sluggish behavior by whoever did that when Louis Brown was on air, exercising his freedom, his right as a Liberian to free speech, I was kind of hesitant about the rally. As it stands today, I still support Yewon Gonglo as president in Liberia, but I support, emphatically support the rally for December 17th in Liberia. I'm tired of sending half of my money to Liberia for remittances to feed people. I am tired of taking money from my daughter to send to Liberia to pay rent and buy generators. I too am tired. So I fully, if you honor my voice in Liberia and you have respect for me, I say show up and support the rally. This is not a political rally for Alexander Cummings. This is not a presidential campaign for Alexander Cummings. And I know my sister said they've run campaign before, but that is the reason political candidates give out their economic plans. They talk on issues. In America, we do that. People tell you the difference between the Republican and the Democrat. They put out issues. They don't say, oh, we're not announcing. We're kind in the corner doing the continuous campaigning. Okay. You can vote for this person. You still show up. You still talk about the issues on the radio. You talk about it in the rally. You talk about it door to door. That is the majority of politicians.
All right. A minute or two, quarter to make it fair, make your because they call your name in this whole thing here. Yeah. So let me give you a day quickly.
You know, Mr. Emmons, Mr. George Rara came out to say, we the Unity Party people. And I'm one of those, I don't have time for protests and things.
Okay.
But let's see what happened, how many protests they have had from the time we have got into power. Our $2 million, our $13 million, $11 million, or how many $1 million? Our fix Liberia. And June 7th, all of the protests, what have been done about all of the protests that have been here? Nothing. Have you shown any improvement, or rather it being worse? Nothing. So I'm saying, with all of the protests we have had have not yield fruit. So what we are going to be doing now is to talk to our electors to make sure to change their mind to vote.
But why your political leader talk about no protest?
Yeah, we're not going to. Just,
Yes.
Mr. George. Mr. George.
I'm not here to tell what I want to do. I'm talking about what I know.
Okay, guys.
I said right now, as you're sitting here, I'm sitting here, text message coming to me to spend money. So this is why I'm telling them. If I want you to send my money to you, now you should be deciding not to vote we are in. Not to say you in the street. The people already looking for food to eat and go tell you go in the street to go protest or go in the street for rally. No. For me, I'm saying
the people are hungry on June 7th when Ome Bwaka participated in that rally. The people are still hungry on June 7th when Ome Bwaka went to that rally.
We don't want to be like other outlets. Guys, thank you
he
so
doesn't
much
have to
and
go.
have a
It does not
pleasant
have.
evening.
Yeah.
Right now, we're going to be doing here of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Thank you so much for being here. Well, the Samuel Kanyendo Sports Complex is the former SKDE is engulfed with the toxic political process in Liberia. How we got to this point. And I'm going to be having Alfonso Stake here this evening before we sign out. First of all, we got it all right. We reached out to ANC officials as well to respond to this question that we asked. And we know the hope behind this question. However, we were able to get Hassan Belati, who was part of also the CPP, which he said yes. I respectfully disagree with my analysts, some of my analysts. Their section, Mr. George, that Alexander Cummings is not liable to answer me. Of course, he's accountable to the public as well. Cummings is answerable to the public of a plain demonstration that he claimed is there to defend the suffering people. What next after the demonstration? These are questions we must ask as the Samuel Kanyendo Sports Complex. Originally, my home stadiums of Mariboro, Invisible 11, Cedar United, LPRC Oil, and then overall, the Lone Star of Liberia has caught itself in a crossfire with the political conversations in Liberia. And the notion that people will defy a sitting government, I feel, is unacceptable. Louis Brown should know better as well. Listen law prevailed that the government, as an agent of the state, can cancel an unauthorized demonstration. They should respect the decisions of other political actors as well. And that is very, very much important. What happens if this demonstration go ahead? What becomes of it? No matter where it falls. Would I put food on the table? Neither are we not calling on people to have a demonstration. But we also understand that we are reaching that people should not defy a sitting government. The opposition is in the divided house. We are saying that as well already. So why are they talking about? So we need to understand and we need to realize that they must have a focal point at this point in time to make sure that Liberia is good and well. Some of these people, and this is why I'm not a good friend to all of these politicians, because the recycling process is just ongoing on a daily basis, and they will continue to do everything possibly they can to allow their interest to prevail. What are you seeking for the higher office of the land? You must also be answerable to the public. We must note your standing. Understand that political rally does whether Gonglo or Boyka. Do you expect Gonglo to support a rally of his opponent to outweigh him, or do you expect Joseph Boyka? When does Louis Brown realize that the people are suffering after we have fired him? What should... Of course, he was fired. And I think Councillor Gonglo just got it right on this one here, being very much opportunist. We think the opposition should have a workable strategy as we move to this closing line. Their house is divided, and they need to have that in place. If George Weah is the president, the inability of the opposition to organize themselves, that is a serious concern. We are saying, like in the book written by legendary kite Gerald, the liberty is actually being hijacked, taking us back into the 1955 elections within the opposition column. That's exactly what is playing out right now. We must take key watch of this. We hope we have officials of ANC here. We are extending invitation as well for them to speak to this issue. Are they willing to take responsibility no matter the outcome, if the demonstration is to go ahead as scheduled? Or are they having a conversation? Are they willing to put an alternative? If the government say the facility is not available, are they willing to have alternative if it is meant for the people of Liberia? I'm wondering what is going on. Demonstration, not demonstration, people will suffer. That's the reality. That's the fact. And that's what some of you would not want to hear. But we just do not entertain on this network. We also tell people what they need to know. And this is why we made the conversations well proportional. When we started suffering, the suffering being on, I want suffering to stop. My phones are flipping off now with this Christmas and holidays ahead because people want. What happens when things go off hand? Or even after the demonstrations, let's assume the demonstration goes on, is successful. Will people start, the employment rate will go up? Why can the opposition at this consequential time go up into Liberia, rural Liberia, and begin to draw that parallel line, their agenda for the country, how they will create jobs? This is a short-term sort of approach the oppositions and politicians in Liberia, both government and the opposition, they are playing. They are gaming to the lives of our people. They are unable to sit around the conference. Yes, we all know the pain in the neck, the elephant in the room is the CDC government, in as much that there must be a twist within Liberia. It must be done rightly. There were people that made some decisions. And Tiawan Gonglo, I think he got it right at this point in time. So why the old things that we try to avoid, we want to reconstruct it again? Well, that's the politics in Liberia. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. By God's willing, same time, same network, we will be here. I want to say thank you to our special guest, Minister ZEOGAR Wilson, and we're still working behind the scene. Hopefully, it's on the Liberian war today. It will finalize it. It was postponed last week. Senator Side Joseph. We did reach out to Mr. Henry Costa, who also expressed his interest. We had a chance to talk to ANC Victoria Kokwe, who is contesting for Moserado. We did reach out to Senator Side Joseph and also sent message to Mr. Henry Costa. And Side Joseph considered last week was a technical issue, so the program did not go ahead as scheduled. We are doing everything possible to have a reschedule for this week. We'll keep you posted whatever the situation is. Up to present, we have not heard from Mr. Costa as to whether he will appear on the Liberia Public Radio. Our job is to reach out, create fair, balanced conversations. wouldn't necessarily tell you on this network what you want to hear, what you anticipating hearing. No, we tell you what you need to know. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening for sharing with us here this evening. Until then, I'm a traditionalist, I say, on this network, and let's send you to La Côte d'Ivoire this evening until we can sign up. Have a pleasant evening.
Yeah, Ajapuya, so Kanadia Kanao, Emeno, so Emeno. That fly in Aguado, as I work with it. No, I'm about to. Svi Laurent, Svi Antoine, Keina Paul, Paul Wallace, Apo Joachayo, Woodley Rebecca. Yeah.
A social network that always tried to do what is right, making information, conversation proportional, giving everybody the fair share. And what is interesting, we do now sanction voices, including the contributors and analysts, and even those of our followers. They always express their engagement with one another. Disagreement is so civil, is so in the context of making sure that civility is maintained at all times. Not to mention the panelists you have, all of them, despite of their political pick, but the respect is there for one another. Sissy Goyot, our senior contributor based in Minnesota. He does support the candidacy of Tiawan Gonglo. He always makes sure to get in the throats of the ANC, and he's very clever and strategic in doing that. Dolaket, on the other end, with Amos Joy, Dolaket, he's a soft guy, soft speaking guy. I always try to find a common ground, but he's rightfully being labeled by the liberal progressive on the far right. Amos George, he is the fire burns behind this whole thing. But notwithstanding, he understands that the conversation is going to be a tough one. With Dr. Toto, George Toto, adding to the network, adding more pageantry. He's on the political alliance with Sissy Goya. Interesting. The liberal is a standing alone guy who always like to be a baby cry during these hard conversation. But he's, like he said, he's involved. And when someone is involved, it means they can change their political mind. And they are here tonight. This is the panelists.
We don't only have a limited audience, limited to people who have data and have access to the internet, right? Now we're on radio, so we've expanded the pool of listeners, and because we in LPR are in the business of educating our people, whether it's political education or academic education or health education. Now we have access to a vast majority of the Liberian population that we can now interact with. And as far as the ambassador goes, I'm excited to hear what he has to say. I hope, and I know the brother is he's very smart.